hypostasis. And it's, as Severus himself says, it's a union of two special hypostases. Whereas in Chalcedonian hypostatic union, there's a union of two substances that unite in the level of hypostasis, right? So it's not two general substances, like abstract substances, but rather two substances in Christ that are united. And that's sort of different.
Welcome back to Quarantine Apologetics, defending the faith while under lockdown. I'm Allan Ruhl. I want to talk about a debate that happened. It was hosted by Craig Truglia, who's a member of the Eastern Orthodox Church. And I do got to give Craig credit. I like his work because he does not use Protestant arguments against the papacy. He uses Orthodox arguments against the papacy, unlike a certain person who shall remain nameless, who always is like, oh, read Papalism by Denny. That's what Jay Dyer... Okay, it's Jay Dyer. So much for that. Anyway, he hosted a debate with Chalcedonianism versus Miaphysitism, which is it's called Eastern Orthodox versus Oriental Orthodox. The one representing Eastern Orthodox and also the Catholic position, the Chalcedonian position, was a guy named David therealMedWhite. I don't know a lot about him, but I know he's part of Jay Dyer's crew. He's been on Jay Dyer's channel. He's from Turkey, and he's Eastern Orthodox. He debated two Coptics. I think they're Coptics or some kind of Oriental Orthodox church. Daniel Kakish and Paul Ibrahim. So he debated these two people. And if I had to give a review of the debate, I would say David therealMedWhite won. He's really studied this issue. I got to give him credit. I got to give David therealMedWhite credit because he's has done a lot of research on this. So, and it's an area that no one else wants to do research on. Like, for example, if you want to find an Eastern Orthodox apologist who knows how to argue against the papacy, like about 80% are going to lift their hand, right? I mean, you know, or claim to know to argue against papacy. There's lots of books on that, but he's one of the only ones who has studied this. So I got to give him credit for that and for doing a good job in the debate. Now, this debate focuses around the 5th and the 6th century of the church. Now, we need to remember, this is right before Islam comes on the picture. And just listen to this debate about, like, what's a hypostasis, what's this, what's that. They're quoting people like Cyril, like Severus of Antioch, Leontius of Jerusalem, Pope Leo the Great, there's all this terminology and the two schools of thought. You got Alexandria and Antioch. They use the same terminology, but they mean different things. Then when it gets translated into Syriac or Coptic, it goes off the rail. Like, it is a tough debate, and these people duked it out. Then, of course, in the 7th century, in the early 7th century, just before Islam comes along, you have the monothelite controversy, which was used as kind of a compromise between the two, but it only made things worse. You know, it was like the Council of Pisa of the first millennium, I suppose you could say. So what happened, and on top of all of this, you have Nestorianism is still there, which is another. It had been condemned in 431, but It had been condemned in 431, but it still lingered around for a while, and it was actually very big in the Far East. And then what happened is you had these people. So basically, in Egypt, in Syria, in parts of Asia Minor, these debates were just in the 5th and 6th century, and even the 7th century, were in full force. Then, right below this Christian territory, from 610 to 632, you have the career of the false prophet Muhammad, who claimed to be a prophet in the Hijaz in Arabia. So you have the false prophet Muhammad making his revelation, the Quran, and in the Quran, it just denies the deity of Christ in toto. Because let's face it, Muhammad, Muslims will admit, he couldn't read, he wasn't educated, so he probably got wind of all these debates that were going on up north with the hypostasis and the Miaphysite, Monophysite, Chalcedonian, and he's like, God, I'm never going to understand this, so let's just take the easy way out. And of course, that wasn't the right thing to do. He needed to debate it out. I mean, the fact that Muhammad, he didn't even know what Christians or Jews believe. He thought Jews believed that Uzair was the son of Allah in the same way Christians believe the Messiah is the son of Allah. He got 1/3 of the Trinity wrong in Surah 5, verses 73, 75, and 116. So he doesn't even know the Trinity. He doesn't even know what Christians or Jews believe. So obviously, when he hears all this complex debate going on up to the north, it's not going to be like, well, let's figure this out. He's like, no, maybe he just wasn't God at all. He was just some guy, a good guy, but a guy and only a guy. So that's probably the reason Muhammad ended up denying the deity of Christ, is because he was just confused by the debates. But if you're for example, I'm confused. If I watch them debate, these people know far more than me. I submit myself to the authority. I know that our great saints in the Catholic Church have dealt with this before. And so I'm confident. Muhammad, instead of going to the church like he should have, he's like, I'm going to invent my own stuff. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. And that's why the Quran gets Christology way, way, way wrong. And the Trinity and a lot of other things too. That's all I wanted to say. Stay safe, stay healthy. God bless. Pray the rosary. And we'll see you tomorrow.